In today's video, I'm gonna show you how I take my self-portraits and how you can improve your self-portraits using instant photography. The Cobbler CL60R. This is a freaking fantastic RGB and bicolor light. Let's get into it.
You know the type of guy that was a jock in high school but ended up becoming a huge nerd? You know, someone that's not afraid to make a fool of themselves on the internet. And someone that likes to shoot Polaroid a little too much. Did I say huge nerd? You know, just an ordinary, everyday guy. Well, that's me. I'm just another Chris.
And also this will apply to digital photography as well. In fact, you probably will get better results with this, with digital photography, but it works great for instant. I'm not a huge fan of flash photography. I do use it, but usually when I know I can't use anything else, it's kind of my last resort. I like to use continuous lights, feel it's a little more natural looking in photos. Flash photography does have its merits and its place, especially in instant photography world. Pretty much the look that you get from those is the aesthetic and retro feel that is a big draw to instant photography. But if you want to take it to a next level and have your photos look a little bit different than everybody else's, make them stand out. So you want to get yourself a RGB light. It will drastically improve your photos. In my personal opinion, I know it's kind of in the eye of the beholder. That's where this comes in. When this company reached out to me and wanted me to check this out, I was like, yes, please. This is a Cobb light. It's not just bicolored, it's also RGB. Yeah, and this thing is super bright. And also the size of this is amazing. I could almost mount this to a camera rig if I really wanted to. Throw on a small softbox, this thing would be killer. It's lightweight and there's so many cool features that this has that I'm just gonna touch on real quick. It strips down into a small form, and the reason for this, it has these like tactical rails, if you will. You can get multiples of these and connect them all together and build out a giant light. It powers via USB-C, but you can't just use any old USB-C cable. It has its own power brick, has its own carrying bag and for travel and storage. It has a removable Bowens mount connection. Now, this is the one thing that was worrisome to me personally, and that is it doesn't like screw into it. When you put it in, it has these little ball bearings on a spring loaded system, and it just kind of pressure fits itself. And so you can just put it on like so, and then you just pop it on and off like that. It's pretty strong, and I've mounted some large soft boxes to this that are pretty heavy, and it didn't go anywhere, so that was really, really nice. It has this little cap for the light itself to keep it from getting damaged. Make sure you take it off though before you turn it on. It is ultra quiet too. I have it running for hours and you can barely hear it. You really have to put your ear up to it to even hear that it's on. And it doesn't even get that hot. I let it run for several hours, and yeah, it's hot right in front of it, of course, but the unit itself, perfectly fine, doesn't get hot. It also comes with a little reflector. I would have liked to have seen this with a remote. There is no remote, but you can connect to an app and operate that way. And the app is pretty cool. You can connect them together and set up scenes and save presets and stuff. So yeah, that's a neat touch. But I would have loved to have seen this with a physical remote. This would have been a little, quick and easier. So it has multiple effects that you can use on here. It has like candlelight and lightning and a bunch of that stuff. But more specifically for me, I really am drawn, like I said, to the RGB color. I can really get creative with my scenes. The one thing I dislike about this is these little dial wheels on here. They're very clunky. I think that could be improved in a later version, hopefully. Yeah, I just don't like them. They're very clunky, and sometimes when you're trying to move it, it doesn't move. You have to like press it in and finagle it a little bit. I don't know, that's the only cheap thing that feels on this light, which is unfortunate because that's kind of your main source to cycle through settings and stuff. So I would love to see this improved in a later version. So right now I'm being lit exclusively by the COLBOR, I think that's how you pronounce it, CL60R, and it is barely on. Like, this thing is so bright. This thing's only at 30% power at daylight balance, so 5600. However, I want to take this down and put it behind me and light up the background, have a little more fun, and utilize the RGB effects to its fullest capability. And the light is arm's length away, and that is the optimal position right off to the side. The light dome that I'm using isn't a big one. It's a 20-inch by Easy Lock. I think it's an Adorama brand, but I really like these, but it's not a massive one. That's a whole other topic, but I just wanted to let you know which one I was using. This is why lighting's important. I've just got the overhead office lights on. They are bad. That's okay for this quick demonstration. So to set this scene up, it's really simple. You really can't go wrong with it. I have the tripod right here for where I'm gonna put the camera. And then right here is the main light source. I've rehooked up the Aperture 120D, and that's gonna be lighting my face. Now when I take the photos, the overhead light's off, and I'm just using this light and then one backlight to light this. Now in the background, you don't have to have like a paper backdrop. You can literally have it rolled up and be an empty room, and you can still shine this light as a backsplash, and it looks really cool. Now pro tip in this situation, this is daylight balance light. I could leave it at that and take a photo, but I really want this blue to come across in the photo. So what I'm gonna do is turn on RGB and set it to like a blue. So I have it set to 100% power. That may be too bright. This is 30% power. And now it's just kind of wash out the background, and then I'm gonna stand right in front of it. Then I have my SX70 camera, and the reason I chose this camera is because I'm able to look through the viewfinder. It helps me with framing. The autofocus version helps for focusing, but doesn't help with framing. So what I do is I put this on the tripod and then bring over Astro, my lovely assistant, and use him as my stand-in. I might have been out of focus the whole time, and I apologize. But I get Astro in place right where I'm gonna be standing. I frame things up with the SX70, and then once I'm ready, I move Astro out of the way, and then I plug in my remote shutter button. And then I plug this right into the camera, and then get in position with the hand out of frame, smile, snap a photo, and then there's my selfie. That's it with the shutter button. Now I have a really cool photo. So now I'm gonna take the same photo again, except this time I'm gonna turn off that backlight just to show you the difference. Now it's just this one light source lighting me, and this background is gonna be a lot darker. Let's see, should I do like a pose? Like, is this gonna work? So now we just gotta wait for these to develop, and let's see the difference. All right, photos are now fully developed, but before we get into these, I just want to let you know I did switch out the aperture for the Colbor, so that's what I'm being lit by right now. But now looking at these two photos, they're actually both good in their own rights. It's just for personal preference. I like to share these online. If I were to pick one to share online, it would be the more colorful one, just because it pops more, it just stands out. However, that second shot without the backlight, it lends its own look. It has kind of a more moody, cinematic look, if you will. But if you want to add a little bit more extra flair to your shots, the backlight does just that. This gives my seal of approval, so if you want to get one, there'll be a link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Now get out there, make some art.